Hello, hopefully you sat through the introduction to this green box exercise, this kind of latest unusual project that we do here at Planning Solo. But what I wanted to do here is break down the different components, because as I said in the first video, this is a big project. Realistically, this is going to take you a couple of weekends or a month or two of dedicated work to collate everything, and it's going to be a pain in the neck. You're going to hate it. You'll probably end up hating me as we work through it, but at the end of it, you'll be really pleased and really glad to have this box of stuff ready for the people that survive you in the event of your passing, just to make life easier for them in that horrible time. So we'll start off with the personal component of the process, and we'll start here with the document list. So the document list is really just a checklist. So it's just you saying, okay, here are the bits and pieces. So what you can do is just work off this list. So this is not a page I would necessarily print out. You could work off the spreadsheet doing this. But just work through that. Write a meaningful letter to your partner and to your children, and also one to your executor. The one to your executor is going to be a bit more administrative. In the event of an estate dispute, potentially letters to the executor could get dragged in as evidence. Flag that. And that being said, giving your executor instructions around who to trust and who not to trust and what to trust them with can be quite useful, particularly if your executor doesn't know all of the players in your life. So my executor, for instance, is a friend, and he does not know some of the people in my business life. And thankfully, all the people in my business life are very trustworthy, but I have given him some context around those relationships and just who would be 100% the person that you could expect to be next to you in the trenches, and just who else maybe has other priorities as well that you just need to be aware of. So it's just trying to give him that context and that information. Letters to children, then copy of will, copy of your powers of attorney and the other bits and pieces, copy of your passport, copy of your birth certificate, and also funeral and burial instructions. Now, I haven't constructed a note around funeral or burial instructions. That can just be a one-pager you write out, and it's really, do you want to be cremated or buried? If buried, who would you like as pallbearers? Do you have any particular readings you'd like to have? Do you have a music list? I mentioned my mum in the first one. She didn't have this for us, but it was quite easy for us to pick the songs to have play through the ceremony. So make that a little bit easier too. I will flag that part of the appeal for this to me is I may have some latent control issues, and being able to influence things after I'm gone is of appeal. But also, again, I know that having this in place is 1, 10, 100 fewer jobs that the people behind will need to worry about. So it's just a good way to collate. You may want to put in where these documents are. You may not want to have a ream of paper in your green box, but it's worth having this all as a list. Memento list is a little bit more detailed. This is where you just list the mementos you'd like to leave particular people. So generally, and to really, really generalize here, often women will have jewelry they want to leave to particular members of the family. They may have like wedding and engagement rings they wish to pass on, or jewelry from family and parents and things like that they want to pass on to particular children. They want to help divide the collection of jewelry so that there isn't an argument afterwards. For men, there's often a discussion around tools, and this is all very general, like this is not consistent, but I have had discussions with people around particular tools and power tools and hand tools. Cars sometimes, if they're not of a huge value, particular equipment, things that have a personal or memory attached to it. So list here the name of the item, the recipient, and notes for the recipient. So that could be why you're leaving it to them, and that could even be something like, I'm leaving you this hand plane because I remember the time that we worked on this project together, and every time I look at it, it reminds me of you, and I want you to have the same experience. That's something really nice, I think, that can be left behind. When you've completed this, this isn't a security issue. You could leave this in the spreadsheet, but I would then print that off, pop that in the green box, and it goes possibly with a letter to your executor, just to help them know what goes where. It doesn't have to be exhaustive. It doesn't have to cover everything. Some of you may have heard me tell a story about the bottle of, the jar of lentils through somebody's divorce separation process. You don't need to get that granular, as the joke may be, but try to cover the big things, things that would be really relevant or that may cause a dispute in the family. From there to contact list, this is really the list of people that you'd want to be notified upon your death. This may be really easy if your family and friends network is very small, not very small, but very tight, and have known each other for a long time. It's going to be very easy for that to be done. Facebook, social media is obviously a good way of broadcasting this kind of information, but I find that can be something somewhat discomforting for people, and it also presumes that you have the people you've left behind have access to your Facebook account. This also may be, I want to make sure my GP knows. My accountant should know. I'm not due to see them. I see them once a year, or I never see them at all. It's all via the phone. That kind of thing. Pop in their name, their phone, their email, their notes. You should be able to get a lot of this out of your mobile phone. It's a good way to collect the information there. And notes may be just an explanation of why you want them to know if it is surprising. I have some business contacts that I have been in business with in the past, don't speak to regularly, but I do want them to know if I've passed away. And this can also act as a bit of a proxy for a funeral invitation list kind of thing. Finally, on the personal side, personal property valuation. So this is very similar to the memento list. You could, potentially combine them. But what this kind of feeds into the financial aspect as well. So if you have significant personal assets like jewelry, artwork, electronics, a wine collection, some sporting gear maybe, not tools, they don't really retain their value. Some vehicles, but things like old motorbike parts or something like that. If you've had them valued, pop them here. Now, you may have had them valued for insurance purposes. So if you have like a significant wine collection, it's good practice if you haven't already to have that valued for insurance purposes. But just pop in there the item, the estimated valuation, who did the valuation, and when it was done. And again, this just sits with your letter to the executor just so they have a reference point for those items. You can see the way this module works when we're working with people on like a private client basis is we are gradually working through this, and it's almost set as a syllabus, and just each week or each fortnight we are building out one of these sheets. Now, if you're watching this, you may not be a private client. You may be working through one of our modules or just through the process yourself. That's fine. I would recommend you do it methodically and progressively, not all at once, and try to maintain the motivation as you go through. If you're doing it as a couple, do it together. There is a lot of duplication you can use here. It won't be exact, but it will help you keep up the motivation through what is a pretty heinous piece of life admin. But again, it's well worth the effort. All right, I'll leave you there. I'll hop back in and we'll do the life admin side.